lives. Charities can confidently plan and expand the good work they do. And small businesses and enterprises on the forefront of innovation now have the economic certainty they deserve.
They deserve?
Sick, misguided, very misguided, sick. And this is what Obama...
But this happened thanks to the Republicans.
Right.
Led by Paul Ryan.
Correct. Paul Ryan and Nancy Pelosi put it together. The twixt of the two. Okay, so this is what Obama said immediately after this thing passed. I said I would not accept a lot of ideological riders that were attached to the big budget deal. And because of some terrific negotiation by Democrats up on Capitol Hill, I think some pretty good work by our legislative staff here, it was a good win. We met our goals. Flanked by his national security team, President Obama reassured Americans that there was no specific credible threat against the country ahead of the holidays. We did not have any specific credible information about attack on the homeland. Stay vigilant.
What?
That was his whole press conference.
Stay vigilant?
He spiked the football by saying that it's a big win for our team. And, oh, by the way, we got no credible threat on America.
So he spiked the football on the 50-yard line.
Yes. And so what I posted up at be very, very aware. He said there's no credible threat.
Didn't he say that right before the Paris attacks?
Both.
Or no, the San Bernardino attack.
Both of them. Oh. Before Paris and before San Bernardino.
So he's just saying it to be... It's kind of like the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, which, by the way, had to come from a communist, since it was American communist, by the way.
Right.
Because it means nothing.
Right.
What does that mean, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself? First of all, were people that fearful?
Did they have... Were they entrenched with fear?
Yeah, I mean...
Did they walk around every day looking around... Where's the fear?
Here we are all these years later, 85 years later after that speech.
We still got fear.
Well, no, I mean, we look back at it and we're like, wow, they must have been really scared.
Well, listen to the way Obama's talking now. He might as well say, hey, the only thing you got fear said, don't be fearful.
Might as well say that.
Don't be fearful.
So 85 years from now, they could look back at Obama's speech and be like, wow.
They must have had fear.
I would have been scared too. Look at all these people getting hacked up, heads lopped off. People getting shot up with assault weapons, assault machine guns, which, by the way...
Assaulting. Yeah. My fist could be assault fists.
Yeah.
If I assaulted somebody with them.
Then they would be an assault fist.
Right. Okay, so I know you're all chomping at the bit, so what's in this deal? Why am I so upset?
Yes, let's hear the list.
Well, they lift the ban on oil exports.
Oh, well, that's good for us, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. That's our side of the aisle, right? That's what we got out of it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Anything else?
No, that's about it.
What about taxes? Were there any taxes slashed?
Not sure.
Okay. I thought I heard something about that.
They claim that there were some tax cuts that stayed in place. However...
So they renewed. They didn't roll back tax cuts?
Right. We didn't roll them back.
When you hear that, by the way... This is called a double negative, all right? They don't want to say, we're going to go ahead and raise your taxes. We're going to take more money from you. You're never going to hear that out of a politician. What they say instead is, we're going to roll back those tax cuts. We're going to roll them back.
Got to roll them back.
It's a double negative. Roll back is one negative. Tax cut is the other negative. If you put two negatives together,
positive,
you get a positive. So rolling back, that's one. Tax cuts, that's two. You put them both together, they're raising your taxes.
Again.
Yeah, that's again. So just FYI, when you hear rollback tax cut, that means we are going to reach deep into your pocket. We're going to rip out everything, including the lint.
Right, and if we hit the back of your teeth in doing so, we'll take those gold fillings with us.
Which pocket are you talking about? Wow. When I say back pocket, oh, man.
Woo!
This is a family show.
He's searching for gold.
Wow.
So the HB2 visas that I'll get into it. They quadrupled the HB2 visas.
Which is a what?
These resuscitates and expands a controversial provision of the Schumer-Rubio Gang of Eight plan.
Oh, this is going to sink Rubio.
To increase the HB2 visas program to unskilled guest workers. So unskilled guest workers will quadruple. Okay, say it again. Listen to me closely. What kind of workers are we inviting here? Unskilled.
What is that? But so what do you mean? They're going to be ditch diggers?
Laborers. These jobs, the American people who fill these jobs, are typically society's most vulnerable. Single women, black women, disabled, elderly minorities, teenagers, students, first-generation immigrants who came here legally. This fully funds Obama's refugee resettlement operation, all Middle East immigration programs, sanctuary cities are funded. If you are a sanctuary city and claim that you're a sanctuary city, you get money. Lots of it.
That's unbelievable.
Okay.
We need to. The problem was that they didn't read the bill before they passed it? Is that what happened?
It was they were given, it's over 2,000 pages, and Paul Ryan gave them less than a day to look at it and then vote.
Less than a day.
Less than, and vote.
But why would he give them such a short time?
Because of all the crap that's in it. I ain't even done yet.
But isn't he worried that people like you and me, I don't know what the proper grammar is anymore.
That's fine.
Are going to actually find out what's in this in the subsequent days?
It's already done. It doesn't matter now.
So it's all about not mattering.
Obama's continued executive amnesty for dreamers, fully funded. Resettlement of illegal aliens within the U.S. interior, funded. Removes the SAFE Act of screening people. That's out of there. Don't want to screen people very well. Adds $500 billion, so $500 billion of brand new debt.
What is it? How much?
$500 billion of brand new debt.
That we didn't have before.
No. $500 billion of extra debt.
And this could have been stopped by Republican Paul Ryan.
If he didn't write it all. Yes. Obviously, yes. There's also an extension. This is where they're talking about the economy and growing those innovations. You ready for the innovations?
Sure. Yeah.
Extending wind and solar tax credits.
So for those of you creating or purchasing solar panels and windmills, you're going to get either going to be able to buy it for a lot cheaper or possibly be subsidized fully for it.
Well, you're actually going to get your money back. So all of you in the middle class, go buy solar panels because the tax credit is actually your money you're going to get back.
Guess what I learned about these solar panels? The really nice industrial ones that you would use to power a house.
Okay.
Check this out. In the wintertime, they cannot freeze.
Okay.
And because the sun is so low on the horizon, you don't get as much sun per day.
Right.
And you don't get as intense sun per day.
Right.
Okay, so you get less electricity.
Right.
They're vulnerable to those cold temperatures. It takes fossil fuels to keep them heated. I'm not kidding. It costs more money to keep them from being damaged by cold weather in the wintertime than they get out when they're being
Didn't
utilized.
we talk to your dad about the exponential cost of windmills and the negative cost of them because the maintenance?
There's maintenance. That's true.
All the maintenance that's involved, all the downtime that it's not making money, the time that it is making money that you can't store.
Well, hold on. We need to categorize them into the proper categories. Before we go into the cost of windmills, you should just first of all realize, and this is its own separate category, that you're not going to get power all the time from them.
No.
If the wind is down, no power. If here's another interesting thing about electricity. We don't have a great way to store them. Gasoline or oil can be put in a tank
Right.
and used when you're ready to use it.
Later on.
Electricity, if you're turning a generator, you're producing electricity. If it's not being used as you make it, you lose a lot of that. You could
Right.
put it in capacitors or even charge batteries with them, and you get some storage, but it's nothing compared to a tank of oil that you can sit there and hold for indefinitely
Right.
until you're ready to process it or whatever. Hell, you could leave it in the ground and drill it up when you're ready to use it. It could sit in the ground for millions of years.
Oh, because it already has been.
Right. Whereas electricity, you don't get that opportunity. So you could be spinning a windmill in the middle of the night when everybody's sleeping and not using a lot of that electricity, and you lose a lot of that.
And the more that it spins, the more that it moves, the more maintenance you're going to have to do to it, whether it be oil, grease, bearings.
It's a moving part.
Right.
Yeah, so it has to be upkept and all that.
Oh,
Plus
yeah.
you have
No,
to
there's
actually-
oil. There's oil involved.
Oh, yeah, you're greasing it and stuff like that.
The shop that I work at now, they said years ago, before the '08 crash, they were actually making some of the windmill blades.
Okay.
And they said the amount of time and energy to make one
Yeah.
was insane.
It uses special materials, a lot of which are hazardous to the environment, which is so ironic.
And all the coal fire plants drive all the machinery to
Yep.
make those.
That's right. So here you got somebody shoveling millions of pounds of coal into a giant furnace to keep the electricity pumping to the factory that's making the blades and the generators and the wires and all this stuff that you're doing.
Why are we not in the wind industry milk soaking? You know, it's because of my conscience. I can't be that guy. Well, you know what? Screw it. If the government's going to pay the money out, I want to soak them for it.
It's like that guy.
I can't do it.
It's like the guy that you told me about that was developing the windmill for the car.
Oh, yeah, for the top of the roof of his car. Little tiny windmill. Like it was going to be a little thin sliver, like a pocket that goes right over the top of your car. And inside that pocket were little tiny windmills.
Okay.
And they would regenerate and capture the air
So, okay.
moving
Uh-huh.
and create electricity so that the car could run and recharge the battery.
But I had to point out to these geniuses that you actually lose power to the drag you create by having the windmills in the first place. And if you know anything about physics, there's a law called the conservation of energy, which states that there's no way you can get more electrical power out of those windmills than you would lose in drag. You will always lose more power in the drag from the windmills on your car than you will gain
Right.
from the electricity.
Because they got to be tiny little. Well, I mean, think about it as a big. Just blow this up, blow it out of proportion. Think of it as a car with a giant windmill on the top. Now you can imagine just hauling that thing to get it to spin.
Right?
You can see that just will not be efficient.
Let's say we need to get up to 100 miles an hour. So we're driving down the highway with a 300-foot diameter windmill on it.
Right.
Going 100 miles an hour. And that thing is just spinning.
Right, and you've got two V10
No.
tech engines
No, you have
powering
an
your
electric engine.
Oh,
It's an electric engine.
right. I forgot. I don't know where I was thinking.
So the wires come straight down to power the car.
Right, and that cable coming to the power of the car is as thick as your thigh because you got a lot of electricity coming through.
Right.
So,
But you could do AC also. AC or DC. Doesn't matter. If you do AC, it could be a thin wire. Have
Okay.
high voltage.
okay,
But let's just say you got as much efficient electrical power going to the engine that drives the car as possible.
right.
Without something else, like a generator, to produce additional power, the car would roll to a stop.
Absolutely, you wouldn't even get started.
Let's say you got it started
Okay.
and then disconnected.
Okay,
And the only thing pushing that car is the electricity coming from the giant windmill.
right.
It would come rolling to a stop eventually.
That's hysterical.
It would eventually come
Oh
to a
yeah,
stop.
without a doubt.
Because why? Because did you know